This right here is not the Azur Promilia news that we were waiting for. On the contrary, this is probably one of the worst things that could have happened outside of an actual cancellation. People are claiming that this is going to be a Black Beacon 2.0. Azur Promilia is officially scheduled for release on December 31st, 2026, which sounds good. This is really good news until you factor in this is for the Korean version of the game. One, this is a placeholder date. There are people spreading misinformation all across social media claiming that this is the definitive release date. It's not. It is a placeholder date. This could release at any point between now and December 31st. This right here is a definitive, final, must release by date. It is not the actual genuine confirmation of the release date. And it's very likely to release probably weeks before this. With this in mind, this is specifically pertaining to the Korean version of the game, the Nexon version of the game. This is not the Chinese version. This is not the Japanese version of the game. And people are incredibly upset. They're absolutely livid all across social media. Here is Andrew, another big content creator with almost 80,000 subscribers that averages 20, 30, 100,000 views for every single video. If this turns out to be real, it is the biggest fuck up in gachas in a long time, since it means that it is going to launch earlier in Korea and Asia in general and later in global, or it straight up never launches, since there have been 0 English language betas, the worst game management I have ever seen. Here is Legions Gaming. Oh man, if they don't do a global simultaneous launch, it's gonna hurt this game bad. I never understand why companies do this. It's retarded. Here's one from Scripter. That is really bad news for me. Azur Promilia is a good upcoming game that I'm excited to test out, but not having news for global is kind of bad. Global is a big audience you shouldn't miss on any gacha game. I hope this is only for some time and not just a general decision. I think that this is for the short term. I genuinely do think they're gonna release globally. They have to release globally. It would be in their best interest to. Global makes up a lot of the total gross revenue. It is not the highest demographic, the most lucrative region, but you're leaving millions of dollars every single month on the table. Azur Promilia is not launching with global servers. Global beggars will have to make JP accounts. Who knows if they'll even have English translations? I highly doubt it. So incredibly lame. Global will be behind, just like with Azure Lane. And honestly, there have been multiple games that released in China first. Girls Frontline 2, Punishing Grey Raven, after which China realized, oh, you know what? Maybe we should have released a game globally. So they played catch up. They decided to speed things up, push out more updates, push out more rewards to get the global version of the game up to the same point to synchronize it with China. Because every gacha game studio knows that at the end of the day, the more countries the game is available in, the more money you will earn. It doesn't matter which gacha game you are. It doesn't matter which studio you are. At the end of the day, the most important metric for any video game is how much money you're making. You have to appease investors. You have to pay your staff for content. You have to pay marketing costs. Genuinely, there is so much that you have to factor into this, that eliminating an entire market the size of global would be a death sentence for your game. Today is a sad day for the West. The announcement of Azur Promilia only comes down to the launch of servers in Asia. There's no confirmation of English, Spanish, French, and other languages. If they launch globally, it'll be a surprise. I doubt it. Or months after the Asian launch. If they launch Azur Promilia in Korea and Japan first, I'm done here. A staggered release like this is never good for the game. Are you already trolling the global audience, knowing how many have waited for this? Y'all don't learn. Get up with the times. I made a tweet on this as well. Is China, Japan, and Korea really going to get Azur Promilia before global? I don't know, man. That just doesn't sound like a good idea. Haven't we learned that simultaneous releases around the world on all major platforms provide the largest chance of success? Come on. I think, honestly, that was a very tame comment. Then we have comments. They're ignored us the entire time through development and beta, so honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it does happen. It's truly the inevitable, but a lot of games in the past have been like this. Even some MMOs would always Asia first, global second. I'm still going to wait, though. I've been waiting for Azur Promilia since its first initial trailer. I mean, I've been covering this game for so freaking long, since literally the day it was announced. And even though I am disappointed with what I'm seeing, at the end of the day, I will also definitely play this at launch and probably indefinitely, because I have a feeling it's going to be a very good, very fun game. But at the same time, I know that they're going to deter a lot of global players from playing it purely because The other big gacha games, Arknights Enfield, Neverness to Everness, the upcoming Silver Palace game, so many of them have all released simultaneously because they know that that's important. When you release in China, people are going to play the Chinese version and then not play the global version. When it releases in China, players are going to start releasing guides and information for the game, and it's not going to be new. It's not going to be fresh. It's going to take away some of the surprise, a lot of the momentum. Content creators aren't going to be able to grow. It's going to detrimentally affect the entire landscape of the game. And I love Cherry here and Ryuku Sensei and everyone. So I'm not, criticizing their comments. I completely agree. I don't mean to interrupt the video, but I need to take a moment here to thank all my incredible patrons over on Patreon whose support continues to allow for me to do regular videos like this every single day on this channel. Thank y'all so much, including our YouTube channel members. You guys mean the world to me. So do you guys as viewers as well. Now, without further ado, let's continue. It's disappointing, man. I thought we're past this. Looks like Higan all over again. I hate when we get a game like this and nothing is really new because everyone has already covered or played it already, which is literally what I just stated. Bad move. I understand Azur Lane is bigger in Asia, but this is a bad move. Why do many gacha games try to shoot their own legs in the big 2026? Zero posts from the English version. I feel their target audience basically is Japan for global. They're not. And then there's comments like this. There have been several comments like this. They're not bothering with global because of LARPers like you who despise lollies. So good on them. I don't despise lollies. I just don't like them. I also don't like male characters, but that's fine. It's called a personal preference. I know some people don't understand personal preferences exist and likes and dislikes are subjective, but just because I don't like fat girl characters or fat guy characters or guy characters really at all, or old people characters or lolly characters, doesn't mean I'm not okay with them existing. Doesn't mean I'm not okay with also people liking them. You like what you like and you play what you play. It's really that simple. When a lot of games come to global last, I feel like we don't get the same treatment as other countries. I was hyped for this game at first, but I don't know anymore. They are trolling and destroying their hype with this. I saw this a mile away, kind of expected, but sad. It would deter a lot of potential players since hard to get excited over a patch coming in a year later, which again is Girls Frontline 2, punishing Grey Raven all over again. I hate to say, but this would kill my chances of playing it. Manju really wants to blow its own legs off with a landmine. Not only has Azur Lane not got a PC client, but Azur Promilia won't either. Punishing Grey Raven got a PC client. Arknights got a PC client. All these big popular gacha games are getting PC clients. Nexon tied to it as well. Same Nexon, full on retarded at this point. My guess is that Manju got some publishing deal with Nexon and Nexon doesn't bother releasing it in global because they think it's not going to be profitable enough. I do genuinely think it is going to release globally though. I really do. This really sucks. I've been hyped for the release of the game since they first announced it. With a lack of global news updates, I fear this is going to be region locked to only those who got into betas. This is a good way to filter out the tourists. This is a great way to make sure your game never encounters the success of Arknights Enfield, NDE, Wuwa, or any of Hoyoverse's games. You saw what happened to Stella Sora when they tried to gatekeep quote-unquote tourists. Yeah, the game is dead, bro. On the contrary, Chaos Zero Nightmare, which didn't try to gatekeep tourists, is absolutely thriving. As soon as global releases an afterthought, I instantly lose 90% of my interest in a game. The game doesn't need global to be successful. If it wants to be very successful, like Arknights Enfield, Neverness to Everness, Wuthering Waves, etc., yes, it really does. They could totally ignore a global release and do quite well. Yeah, they could. They really could. But you're also then leaving millions of dollars on the table. Why would you do that? You want them to get it first and you'll know which banners are coming ahead of time. No, you don't. You want to have the excitement with everyone else. You don't want to sit there, see what is coming a year in advance, and then ultimately end up disappointed because you have to wait that long. Now, these people are delusional. Then you get down here to all the crazies, which I'm not going to delve into because it's just a cesspool of anger and hate towards global players. They really genuinely do hate global players. Not Nexon, not Azur Promilia. People are very upset with this, but ultimately the community that has been fostered is such a toxic cesspool of tribalism and gatekeeping that they want to make sure people that like Neverness to Everness, that like Arknights Enfield, that like Wuthering Waves, don't play their game. They want this to be a tiny little community of people that are only interested in the game in Asia. They don't want the game to release globally. They don't want the game to release into English. They don't want their game to be the potential success that it can be, which means they don't want Manju, the developers, to be the success that they could be, to have the successful game that they could have. That is selfish. That is very selfish. And it's kind of sad to see the community ultimately take this stance rather than be accepting of more players, which would be a benefit overall to Manju and to Azur Promilia. Again, this is incredibly disappointing, but it also shows how unimportant global is. We don't have a confirmed publisher. We don't have a confirmed beta date yet. Not a single beta. Yet Korea, Japan, China have all had beta tests, some of which have had multiple beta tests. This is unreal. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you're not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.